This is actually a really important video. Today we're talking about REACH UK and the implications of it going over from REACH EU, or REACH as we used to call it, over to REACH UK. Let's jump into the intro and we'll get right into it. What's up peeps, welcome back to Rebranding Safety. Rebranding Safety is the YouTube channel and podcast doing exactly what it says on the tin. We're here to change the perception of health and safety audit right here on this channel. So if you're new here, hit subscribe and the bell and all those magical algorithm button things to make sure you don't miss another video going forward. Today we're going to talk about REACH UK and more specifically the implications of it going from REACH EU to REACH UK. So this is going to be a really important video for any of you that are working within a company or run a company that purchase chemicals from a company outside of the UK. Particularly those that used to be classed as a downstream user. I'll explain what that is later on, because they used to purchase from an EU provider. But before we get into that, just a quick shout out. I want to say thank you very much to Paradigm Human Performance and more specifically the HSE subscription service for sponsoring this YouTube channel and the podcast channel as well. We'll tell you some more about Paradigm later on in the video. Okay, so what is REACH? Well, REACH UK is the same as REACH EU, except now it's UK legislation, whereas previously it was EU legislation that was also UK. Basically, because of Brexit, it's changed. So what has changed? Really not that much. They've just copied and pasted from EU to UK, except that's had some implications to actually implement it within the domestic region. REACH stands for the registration, evaluation, authorisation and registration of chemicals. In January the 1st, 2021, it was brought over from EU legislation over to UK legislation, and that was triggered by the European Withdrawal Act. UK REACH maintains the principles and aims of EU REACH or REACH, and those are to provide high-level protection for human health and the environment, to have a no data, no market principle, to have the last resort principle with regard to animal testing, to provide access to information for workers, and to bring in the precautionary principle. Okay, so what is REACH UK then, and what does the change mean? Well, technically REACH UK is not actually REACH UK, it's REACH GB, because it doesn't include Northern Ireland. That's because under the Northern Ireland Protocol, EU regulations continue to apply, therefore they still operate under REACH EU, original REACH, and Great Britain operates under REACH GB or REACH UK as it's called. This is where it now starts to get messy. Let's go with a manufacturer for example. Let's say you manufacture in the EU, so you'll be applicable under EU REACH. If you then import that into the UK, into say a UK subsidiary of your company, you will also be applicable to UK REACH. Does that make sense? Hopefully. Which brings us nicely onto who is this actually applicable to? Well, technically REACH is applicable to everybody, but you get specific duties when you start manufacturing or importing chemicals 1 ton or over. When you do that, you have to register that chemical with the agency, in this case the HSE for REACH UK. If you were previously a downstream user, and I'm going to get into the definitions of all of these kind of manufacturers, importers, downstream users in a moment, under EU REACH, if you're a downstream user under EU, for example, you are based in the UK, purchasing a chemical from an EU provider, a European provider, and they're shipping it to your workplace, for example, you would have been previously classed as a downstream user. Now, however, because of the border between the EU and the UK, you're now an importer. So that obviously has implications. And that's the important thing for those of you that are purchasing chemicals. That's the catch here, that a lot of people, we're starting to see, a lot of people have not picked up on that. But before we get into that and a little bit more and what to do about that, let's just break down the different categories of people or users. So you've got manufacturers. That is what it says on the tin, those that manufacture chemicals. Manufacturers are required to hold a registration for the chemicals that they manufacture. Then we've got importers, again, does what it says on the tin really. So they're going to be applicable to UK REACH when they're bringing chemicals from the EU, Northern Ireland or anywhere else in the world into the UK. Downstream users. A downstream user is basically the end user normally, the person using the chemical, And what that would be under UK reach is you're a downstream user when you're purchasing a chemical from a UK legal entity. And that's important, a UK legal entity. So what does all this mean? Well, basically, the UK legal entity is the important bit here. So if you're purchasing your chemical from an EU provider, for example, they may implement a UK legal entity part of their company. So for example, you've got like McPherson's Chemicals based in Germany, and we're like, oh my god, we make loads of money in the UK, so how do we deal with this? We can set up what's called an only representative. So basically it's a UK legal entity, so we'll have McPherson's Chemicals UK, for example, and I would ship my chemicals from Germany to my warehouse in the UK, which is McPherson Chemicals UK, and then you as a customer would purchase from McPherson Chemicals UK, making you the downstream user and not the importer. If I don't do that and you buy from McPherson Chemicals Germany, you're now an importer and not a downstream user. So how do you work this out? The best thing for you to do is immediately, if you have not done it already, ring your chemicals provider. There is something called a downstream user notification. Now, if you are any of the following things that I'm going to list out, you will need to issue a downstream user notification by the 28th of October 2021. This is basically within 300 days from the 1st of January. This basically then defers your REACH registration for 6 years, plus another 300 days. So you'll fall into that category if you are one of the following. If you're a Great Britain-based legal entity that is importing a chemical from an EU-based and intend to continue doing that. This is for substances and mixtures as well. If you were previously purchasing your chemicals from an only representative of an EU-based company and intend to continue doing that, or you're a manufacturer or formulator of a substance that intends to set up or has set up an only representative in Great Britain. If you were not previously a downstream user or distributor under EU reach and you wish to import chemicals into GB for the first time, you will be required to register with REACH UK. Now, how do you do all of that? Well, there's a website called Comply with UK REACH, what we'll put in the description below. You can go through that process. I've been told it's quite a simple process. However, there is a catch. If you are a chemicals manufacturer or you're dealing with a large quantity on and a large amount of different types of chemicals, this is going to start to get costly. It's going to start to get onerous. You're going to have to go through it all. And I would advise you to register with a trade association who can represent you so you can feed back to them, and then they can feed back to the government, the HSE and so on about the challenges that you may be experiencing, because for those large chemicals manufacturers this is getting really, really messy. You can also get guidance on the fees and charges, and we'll link that, and we'll link to the HSE's guidance page in the description below as well. Okay, before I just summarise those points, just a quick shout out to Paradigm Human Performance, who are our sponsors. Paradigm Human Performance's HSE subscription service is a perfect solution for those small and medium-sized enterprises. If you're an SME, you're probably so busy juggling all the balls and spinning all the plates that sometimes safety just falls by the wayside. It's not intentional, it just happens. And that's life. Paradigm's solution, their HSE subscription service, is there to be that guiding hand for you to make sure that you're ticking all of those boxes. But this is not your off-the-shelf compliance package. This is a system that's going to build you foundations, solid foundations that you can operate on and then develop into that human organizational performance world. So if this sounds right for you, you can contact Paradigm, the email and the phone number that's in the description below. But if you're not sure, you can go to their website, which is also in the description below, and check out the Learn an Organisation webinar. I'm there nearly every Thursday if I can make it, and it's an absolute outstanding webinar full of educational conversations and content. And the best thing is, once you've signed up, you get access to all of their backlog of content as well, so make sure you go check that out. Okay, so back to summarise with REACH then. Basically, if you're in the UK and you purchase chemicals from outside of the UK, and if that was outside of the EU, you're probably already fine, it's already sorted, because you would have already done all this stuff anyway. But I will just make sure by contacting your chemicals manufacturer or importer, whoever you're purchasing those chemicals are, give them a call and double check, have that conversation. It's a bit messy if you were purchasing from an EU provider and now they'll be classed as outside of the border of Great Britain, and therefore the obligations change a little bit. So you need to contact your chemicals provider based in the EU and check what they're doing. Hopefully they're going to set up a UK legal entity within the UK so that you can purchase from that UK entity and continue to be a downstream user. Most main chemical manufacturers are likely to be either doing this already, done it, or planning to do it in the near future. And they'll most commonly be referring to that as a only representative. If you need any more guidance or support, please check the links in the description below. I hope this has helped you, and best of luck sorting all of this out safe.